Hello, everyone. Hello. Happy Friday night. Welcome to Blood and Popcorn, the internet's only horror podcast featuring the three people you currently see on screen. My name is TJ Rotell. Welcome to Blood and Popcorn. With me, as always, are my amazing horror co-hosts, Denise Pantoja and Glenn Akers. Denise, Glenn, how are we feeling this evening? It's like it's October 31st all over again.
It's Halloween, right?
It is Halloween. Yeah, we're about halfway
right
there.
about there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it's the perfect time to celebrate this particular movie. I'm feeling all right. I'm second shot in with the vaccine, so
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a rough day.
It's Vaxoween over here.
This is true.
Yeah.
But doing pretty good. How about you, Glenn?
I'm good. I'm about a week after my second vaccine, so I'm all through the fever and the horrors of that.
Any special powers manifesting yet?
No.
Is your cell service better?
It is. I can't turn it off. It's weird. I turn off my phone and it still rings in my head. It's weird.
Yeah, it's wild,
I'm
man.
just-
Damn
I'm
you,
sure
Bill
there's
Gates. Damn you.
Nothing. No,
Yeah.
there's nothing to be concerned about. It's
Nothing to
fine.
be concerned about. I feel like hammered shit, to quote Chris Christopherson in Blade. But we're here
Wait,
because
but
you
you
know
have
what?
to do it with the gravelly voice. I'm sorry. Let's take it back.
hammering shit.
Thank you. If you're gonna
yeah.
do it,
If
right.
you're gonna do Chris Christopher,
Epic coming in with five gift subs off the top. Epic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hot diggity dog.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. You're far too much, but we appreciate you. And yeah, that's a good reminder. If you're new here to the channel, go ahead and give us a follow. If you happen to like what you see and you want to support, subs and bits are always appreciated but never expected. So, thank you for being here. Glenn, Denise, we got a good one on the books tonight. We got a classic, one of which that I would refer to as part of the unholy trinity. Of Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger, Friday the 13th with Jason Voorhees, and now Denise, your pick of the week, John Carpenter's Halloween. Why'd you pick this one, Denise? What's this one mean to you in the heart chambers?
This means Halloween to me. This is horror to me. It's a great base movie. It's not, as we discovered again rewatching it. I've watched it dozens and dozens of times. This is one that I actually put on. I've always been one of those people where I love music, but I tend to put movies on when I'm like working and doing other stuff because then I can just like picture everything in my head. And this is one of those that I will put on when I'm doing other tasks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the music, we'll talk about it again in a minute, but it's just, it gets you right. Like it gets you in a mood, in a particular mood. And
It's iconic.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, like it's one of the great horror
Undeniably iconic.
themes of all time.
Of all time.
And by the man himself, by the man that put the movie on the screen, John Carpenter.
Indeed.
Multi-talented.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Multifaceted, this John Carpenter is. What a guy. Glenn, now you
Yes.
have a very strong opinion against this movie, which will be very interesting to see tonight.
How dare you?
How that plays out.
I wouldn't say against, because it's sacrilege to say that.
Yes.
Very well.
It's not my favorite.
Okay.
Hashtag I still love you, John Carpenter. Seriously.
You have a picture with John Carpenter on your Facebook, Glenn, and it's one of my favorites.
I do.
Sorry, you're getting this weird first close-up cam. I'm
Yeah, what's
fixing
going on
something
there?
with my camera right now, and I'm doing it with one hand. I realize that I'm like trying to look at you guys while I'm talking, and it's a weird angle. So I'm putting up the little tripod guy here, getting a little close and personal with the folks at home.
We're doing a little POV action.
A little POV, yeah. This is what we're doing. This is like Blair Witch. This is like this is the kind of, as I say all the time, the kind of quality entertainment you come to expect here at Channel 29.
I feel like it's a little Michael Myers cam. That's
Yeah, well, if
here.
only I had a clown mask that I can put ever so haphazardly in front of that lens. I genuinely don't know how they did that shot, because it's to get through both eyes is a weird is a weird thing. Do you think that was done in post, Glenn, or do you think that was done live on camera?
I don't want to jump ahead, but I believe there was a very good edit in there, which you weren't keen on. I imagine they made some sort of
Like a larger.
I don't know what you'd call it. I know what you put in front of the light is called. It's called a snoot, but I don't know what you put in front of the camera.
And when the cinematographer lays hands on it, it is referred to as booping the snoot. Little known fact.
It's true. It's our industry is so stupid.
That's not true. That's not true.
No, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. So it's the year is 1978, and an unsuspecting world is met with a tall man in a spray painted William Shatner mask, with the world's largest kitchen knife.
Yes.
And what happens there? Denise, tell us a bit about the history of Halloween, the John Carpenter classic.
Sorry, I should have waited at a good moment to
That was you.
snap open my Dr. Pepper. Hashtag not sponsored, but if you're listening.
Yeah, you know who sponsored tonight's show for me is fucking Tylenol. Tylenol got the sponsorship tonight. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that right now. Tylenol is coming in hot.
Motrin got me, buddy.
Good for COVID vaccines and stab wounds.
Yeah, it's the best of both worlds. The best of all worlds, really, is what I would say. But yeah,
I just
Denise,
want to show off my collar first. It's very 70s. This is
Oh, yeah,
literally a shirt from the 70s.
you're looking fabulous. Nice, as always.
It is fantastic.
Looking
I have matching-
fabulous.
Stop it. I have matching pants on from the 70s.
Denise, one of the
I do love to
reasons
thrift shop.
I love having you on the show is like every week we get this weird surprise like pseudo cosplay out of you, and I think it's so much fun. I think it's a fun because even Glenn and I don't know what's going to happen until it happens. So it's like,
true.
Boom, there she is, straight out of the 1970s, Denise Pantoja, and there it is.
Yep.
It's not even minutes before we go live.
No.
It's ultimate closet cosplay, and that's because I can't even get to half of my stuff because it's still in boxes. Who knew?
Yeah.
Yes. Radikoshka, I will join your bowling league. I'm not very good though. Too late. You already invited.
That's the perfect
Okay.
join then, if you're shitty at it.
Yeah, for real though.
I'm so
Oh no, unless you're.
shitty.
Oh no, you'd be playing against other people. Never mind.
Yeah.
That's how sports
Sorry.
work.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, Melody? That's Radikoski is a friend and co-star of Through the Void, which you can catch on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Bam, quick little plug, little something for the folks at home.
Boom.
You're fast on that plug. That was great. Good work.
He's very prepared.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time prepping this show, and this show is cursed. Davis does all the work for the show is cursed. I gotta give that dude all the respect in the world. Bless his heart. But yeah, no, man, Halloween is great. It's one of my favorites, just because, like I said, it's one of my top 3 Trinity of Killers, picks. Freddy's my number 1 and Jason's my number 2, but Michael Myers comes in at a strong 3rd, and I think that's pretty commendable considering you've got Leatherface sitting on the sidelines waiting to tag in as an alternate, depending on the movie he's in. So, Denise, are you ready to talk to us a little bit about the history of this storied franchise?
I am. If you are not familiar with Halloween, it is the story of a young boy who kills his sister who's babysitting him.
Tale as
basic.
old as time.
Tale as old as time. Yeah, there's no, and one of the one of the things that we try so desperately to explain throughout the franchise is why. He's probably 11, maybe something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, he's a youngling for sure,
Yeah.
but he wields his lightsaber with great accuracy in that movie.
So his sister's babysitting him. She doesn't know where he is. She goes and she has the sex upstairs with her boyfriend.
Yeah, like you do.
Doesn't last very long. Sorry, Judith. Last
Old
thing
Judy
he did.
Myers.
2 pumps. The end.
And then we go through a great POV. This is what they were talking about, a really great shot, a great POV shot of him putting his a Halloween mask on, and he's dressed as a sweet little clown, and he goes and he does the murder. He's been in a sanitarium for 7 or 8 years or so, and escapes, and we find ourselves back in Haddonfield. This was 63, and then 78. So yeah, I don't know math.
Yeah,
I don't know how old he was. He was younger than 10, I think.
Years later.
And then he starts to stalk other young teenagers.
Yeah, you do.
Babysitters, and then kills more. And his psychiatrist probably, right?
I mean, if he could, I guess, dose him with Thorazine, I'm guessing
Thorazine, yeah.
Loomis probably has the ability to prescribe narcotics to him.
Brain doctor.
Oh, very brave.
Did you say brain doctor? Oh, brain. Oh,
brain doctor. Yeah, he
brain.
works on the noodling.
Yeah.
He is chasing him down because he knows that for some reason Michael is drawn back to Haddonfield. We don't have any other information on his parents or where his parents went or anything like that, but Loomis is trying to track him down before he causes more terror, because this kid has not spoken a word since he was in the sanitarium, and Dr. Loomis is like, this motherfucker scares me.
He stared at the wall for 15 years, seeing through the wall.
Yes.
To this very moment.
That was a little Peter.
This is Peter O'Toole. Oh, God, please.
That was
the
a little,
slings
I
and
was saying it's a
arrows
little
of
Peter
all
O'Toole.
time. Oh.
Anywho.
We're going to watch High Spirits sometime, and I'm going to do that voice for the whole fucking
yes, we
episode.
are. Oh my gosh.
Peter O'Toole is my favorite voice to do ever.
Oh my gosh. And then he's also in The Nutcracker Prince, which is one of my favorite Christmas movies. Anyway, we digress.
Yeah,
so
that's
here
Christmas
we are.
and popcorn. That's the December special.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But then we can also watch bloody Christmas movies. Anyway, so here we are. Fast forward, and he's a killin'. For some reason, he's fixated on this one particular babysitter, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, and we find ourselves in the midst of her journey as Final Girl.
And she does it well. She does it well. I mean, I gotta say, some of the attacks at the end are a little like, that's like a D4 damage. It's not doing a lot of damage, but she gets the job done, and then Loomis swoops in with the old gunneroony and gives him the hot lead. Gives him that hot lead coming in. But as we all know, it ends in a very, very different fashion.
Well, what's very interesting is, I had read somewhere a while back that Carpenter had not intended on doing a sequel, but it is left open-ended.
Wait, did they do sequels?
He did. 1 or 2, I think.
Shit.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, with the best of them being the one that didn't have Michael Myers in it, in my opinion. But best
in a different way, though.
Best in a different way. I love Halloween 3.
You have to sing the song. Can you sing the song? Okay, that's another day when we do Halloween.
When we do Halloween 3, we'll all sing the song. We'll all wear pumpkin and witch and skeleton masks, and we'll be.
I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, they're only like $1,000 on the internet.
Yeah, Silver Shamrock, man. You pay for the quality.
Yeah, well, they're also vintage. You may love my vintage.
I've never seen Halloween 3.
Are you serious?
God, Glenn.
Get out. Get out.
God, Glenn.
Who are you?
Like TJ alluded to, I didn't care for Halloween when I first saw it, so I never cared to go deeper down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I mean, I would have watched them anyway, but I'm that guy. That's my journey, not yours, Glenn.
I've literally only seen the ones titled Halloween.
But Glenn, but you did it tonight. We just watched the movie right before we went live here. What are your, coming back to the film so many years later after your seething hatred for John Carpenter, everything he's ever made?
Fuck you. I don't hate John Carpenter.
How do you
Is
feel
it Deborah
about
Hill you hate? Did you hate that there was a strong woman at the helm of this movie?
Glenn.
Holy shit.
Glenn, give us your honest opinion on the second go around of Halloween. What did you think, man? Like,
this is like my fifth go around. No, every time I see it, I actually like it more and more. And it's not because I am a huge John Carpenter fan. Uh, it, it actually grows on me. Like the first time I saw it, I think I was coming off of like seeing some like batshit insane Italian horror movies or like some Asian horror movies.
It was a different time for
Yeah, it was much slower burn, like tension building. It's not like here's a cat spewing fucking blood out of its mouth and call back to house. It wasn't grabbing my attention like it should have, which is my fault, not the movie's fault. I actually like it a lot more every time I see it. It is something I will probably watch every Halloween time every year from now on.
Yeah, that's a favorite in this house too. It always gets put on the list for the day of festivities.
Also, if John Carpenter is watching, I will always work in any movie you're ever making.
I'm sure he is. John, are you in chat right now? John, just raise your hand.
That'd be great.
John.
If you're in chat.
John.
I'll go get cigarettes for your interviews. You can hold them up in frame if you want. Anyways,
whatever you want, John. It's all for you, buddy. Denise, so this was your debut pick, if you will. First one up. We know I went real weird with my selection with TerrorVision, and then Glenn upped the ante.
Went very mainstream.
Glenn upped the ante.
Glenn upped the ante with Hausu, and then you bring us back. You ground us back in reality with Halloween.
This is also kind of my purpose in our work and personal relationships, guys, right?
To keep us in line.
I think so, yeah.
When us wild childs get out of hand.
I'm your anchor.
You're my rock. You're my rock. And you do rock. But listen.
Anchor has bad connotations.
Oh.
You're dragging the ship down.
Damn.
Listen, Denise, why did you pick this one for your first pick? Because like I'm sure there were a bunch of options rattling around that brain of yours. You know, you have a vast wealth of horror knowledge. But like above all of them, why did you choose to kick off your first week with Halloween?
It's a classic for me, and I want to build a foundation of what we're talking about here. You know what I mean? Like it was one of, some consider it one of the first slasher films. Mm-hmm. So it, I think, was an excellent departure as well from the others that we had seen. They were a little more supernatural. And that's kind of what I love about horror movies. There's so many different types.
Yeah.
So Leprechaun was supernatural. There were some magical elements.
That shit's true. That was a documentary series.
I'm the Leprechaun.
HBO Max documentary series.
Yes.
Lep in the Hood, always up to no good.
And then we went to something out of this world with TerrorVision. It was an alien monster. And then we went to something that was supernatural but vampire-y, ghosty kind of thing with Hausu. So I figured we'd come back to the traditional slasher. I wanna start on like my journey here. I want to start with one of my favorites. A classic.
And a classic
Did
it
I answer
is.
The question?
You did. You absolutely did. And thank you for that. Yeah, it really is a classic. You know what I mean? Like this is heralded as one of the OGs. This is like I said earlier, this is part of the Trinity for me, man. You know, the groundwork being laid, and now here we are, like what, how many years later? Like I don't even know, man. Was that 20, 40 years later? 40-some years later.
Definitely not 20.
No.
Well, I had to do the math like twice. I had to
08,
get to 2000 and then go from there again.
43.
Yeah, so like 43 years later, here we're getting a sequel to the second attempt at a remake of Halloween after the mess that was Rob Zombie's take on Halloween. I love Rob Zombie as both a musician and a director, but I did not like those movies. I'm not a fan.
Did I see them? I don't think I've seen
it was a weird obsession with Laurie's backstory, and it was just I wasn't a fan. Respect to Rob Zombie, but I wasn't a big fan of those. Love all his other work, but those ones were just off for me. But I think the Blumhouse versions that we have now in this era, I think they're pretty good. I think it was I think they did themselves a massive injustice by deleting 42 years of story.
I agree with that as well.
Because, like, you know, at this point, right, like, Michael Myers killed a few kids and then went to a psych ward for 40 years. And that's it. Like, but in any other world, Michael Myers would just be a one-off murderer. He wouldn't be a legendary serial killer.
Right.
The dude did like 4 dudes on a Halloween night and became the boogeyman. And I think that's horseshit. I think you blew out this amazing backstory for what?
Mm-hmm. It was actually a very low body count.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, you know, I don't think it's really, you know, but it's, you know, it's modern Michael Myers. I guess we can be grateful for that. You know, he feels like Michael Myers. That's good.
I mean, I can only be so angry at the concept when it brought back Jamie Lee Curtis, who is
phenomenal.
I fucking love her. Like, she's amazing.
She's great.
And I know she was a big fan of it. She was a big fan of the, you know, survivor fighting back. I just was very disappointed that it did erase all of that, because in case you didn't know, and I'm sure we'll get to it at some point, in Halloween 2, do we want to get to that? Should we talk about it? I don't want to spoiler.
Sure.
Oh yeah, if you don't
this whole
know,
show is
the whole
spoiler
show
alerts.
is spoiler alerts,
Yes.
man. Just get on that.
So in Halloween 2, they decided to take it in a direction that the reason he was obsessed with her is that was his baby sister. She was another baby that Judith was babysitting. We never really understand why she was adopted or why her parents gave her up, but that is the connection that they have. And then it does get a little weird in like 4 and 5 with her daughter. And then we've got Halloween H2O, which ignores 3, 4, and 5. So Halloween has actually had a lot of drama, I guess, since the beginning. But I really appreciated that, because in the end, why would this guy just fixate on this girl? One thing I came up with the time before I watched this is possibly because he ran into Tommy Doyle and he saw him getting bullied, and then because then he was following Laurie, so that's not even a good explanation.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, he saw them walking to school together. Then he followed him. So he knew that Laurie was going to be babysitting Tommy. So I suppose that could still fly. But I did like that is because he's very singularly focused on Laurie and those around her.
Yeah, he's got a deep obsession with Laurie Strode.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Well, what else, Denise? What else about Halloween? Tell us a fun fact or two.
Tell us a fun fact or two. Well, the budget was only like $300,000, and it went on to gross $47 million at the box office.
Oof.
In 2008, that would be the equivalent of $150 million, making Halloween one of the most successful independent films of all time.
That's like an insane ratio.
I mean,
that's
what
like
a
people's
return.
careers made.
The thing, and that's also, I know we've talked about this before, why are people still underrating horror movies? Like, this is so underrated. And I mean, the genre has been since forever, but what a powerful punch.
Yeah.
Like, my gosh. So we have John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. What a dynamic duo, right? They were involved personally for a while, but worked together really, really well. She also co-wrote The Fog with him, and Escape from LA and Escape from New York.
Oh yeah, love those movies.
Why did you do that way?
What? Huh?
You said LA, then New York. They're both great.
Yeah.
I just said it.
There is that great shark in LA.
Classic Snake Plissken.
I in no particular order. Sorry, I should have said that.
No, it's okay.
Well, Denise, now you've ruined the night and possibly the weekend, so we'll ask you to show yourself out. Thank you.
I was aiming to ruin your life, so I'm
Well.
kind of falling short right now.
Well, you got to step up your game. I don't know what to say.
So this is also interesting. So John Carpenter and Deborah Hill have stated many times over the years that they didn't consciously set out to depict virginity as a way of defeating a rampaging killer, which is fascinating because that became an incredibly large cornerstone of the final girl.
Yeah.
And or inversely of getting killed in a horror movie.
Yeah, it's one of the big tropes.
They said that the reason why the horny teens all died is because they were just preoccupied with getting laid, so they didn't notice that there's a killer at large.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Laurie Strode spends a lot of time on her own. She's more alert. She's one thing that I loved about that character as well is it's so fabulous that while I love a badass movie heroine and I love the ones who can fight back and who know how to fight and are like super badass, like Mila Jovovich in the Resident Evil series is just, she is very fucking cool. Like those movies may not be people's favorites, but she is so cool. You can't deny that.
No, she's definitely up to being as badass as any of the characters in the games.
Yeah.
100%.
Despite what is around her in content.
because not only that, not everybody can pull it off. Not everybody can pull off that badass look. But what I loved about Laurie Strode is that even though it's a young, shy, very cautious, very, compared to the other girls, they made her a little more homely in her look and her hair and everything like that.
They did? Sorry, Jamie Lee Curtis is very pretty.
She is, but I mean, compared to the other girls, because they were trying to say, okay, she's the good girl, and the others are a little more wild, in dress and hair. She differs from them.
Fair enough.
She barely has any makeup on. She's very, fresh-faced. It's this young girl who's not trying to be a badass. She's trying to protect these kids. She's trying to survive.
She's the ultimate babysitter.
And in that, she becomes a badass because she's just doing what she can. She stabs the guy in the neck with a fucking knitting needle.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not like she was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna strategically do this and that. Like, she's just doing whatever she can to survive and to protect those children, which is also what sets her apart from the other characters who like could care less about
1d4
babysitting
damage
or whatever.
Boom, knitting needle.
Stop it. In his neck, definitely more than a D4. I would say at least a D12.
Small weapon, D4. Doesn't matter where she lands it. D4
really,
damage.
even if she lands it, like, listen, she didn't, but even if she landed in the jugular, the carotid, like, don't.
I'll give you her proficiency bonus as well.
Anyway.
Dungeons and Dragons, Glenn.
No, I wasn't looking at that. I was.
Head's doing okay. Melody, my body feels like I have a terrible cold. My eyes feel like they're on fire. That's why I put the sunglasses on tonight, so I can close them from time to time and not look weird. But yeah, I'm just very warm. I'm warm.
Woodham.
Well, then she gets him with a coat hanger, right, in the eye, in the closet.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the old saying? Like, is it Halloween? Do you recall this? That the imagery of Laurie coming out of the closet is like imagery of her at the end of her like being born as a woman, like she's defeated. Like, I could swear I heard this analogy once about Laurie.
Didn't we talk about? I mean, we definitely talked about that in House Soup, but I don't know that I've read that.
Yeah, like her, like she's a girl before and then she's confronted with this terrible evil, and she becomes, it's like her rebirth from the womb, coming from the closet.
I mean, it could be.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have strong opinions.
I don't know. I've never. I haven't.
I was
read
wondering
that
if you'd heard that as well.
Mm-mm.
This could be that's the great thing about film analysis is you can literally make up anything, and it becomes
Fact.
True.
becomes canon.
Like that's on the Wikipedia already. What I just said is already there.
Oh, it's on the IMDb too. Weird.
Yeah,
That
weird.
happened fast.
Yeah, I put that right in there. I know Frank IMDb, and I made a call. I'm not gonna lie, I called him a favor to get it done.
So the story too is based on an experience that John Carpenter had when he was touring a psychiatric hospital. Don't know why. He said he met a child who stared at him with a look of evil, and it terrified me.
Gross.
All children don't do that?
Yeah.
No. Sometimes, sometimes they're like cool. You know.
Maybe it's an Illinois thing. All kids in Illinois do that.
It could be a you thing.
Uh-oh. Look at that look.
Children of the Corn. Is that not in Illinois?
I don't know. I am a proverbial child of the corn, though.
I mean, it does have corn in it. It's got corn. It's right in the title.
There is also surprisingly no corn in this movie, even though it's supposed to take place in Illinois.
Yeah, a lot of desert and what appears to be vineyard.
And some hills, which is weird.
Yeah, rolling hills. You know,
and some almost tried to frame out palm trees that
in Pasadena.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shot at early spring in Southern California.
Those rolling Illinois mountains that they're famous
for. There
for.
are hills in Southern Illinois, but that's not. No one knows about that.
Amazing. Listen to this. The crew had to buy paper leaves from a decorator and paint them in the desired autumn colors. The leaves were collected and reused. Oh my God. That's funny because they were spring in Southern California as opposed to fall in Illinois.
Well, I mean, we lived in California. Like, those don't turn colors. They just turn brown and then just fucking fall on the ground. Like,
yeah.
Terrible, terrible, not pretty leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Palm leaves falling and hitting your car from 150 feet in the air. You know, LA.
No shit.
Hashtag LA. You know what I'm saying?
Poor art department, though.
God, what a job that must have been. Like, Denise, you've done art before. Like
painting and then collecting leaves in the wild.
Oh my gosh, I would cry. I mean, because as it says, like, so $300,000, half of that was spent on the cameras.
Yeah.
And touche, good call.
Yeah, they used the shit out of that dolly.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
They were like, we rented this thing. We're getting every shot has movement.
And shooting in Panavision, like fucking low budget movies, still don't do that.
No.
Good call. Scope, Panavision, aspect ratio, anamorphic lenses, like chef kiss.
Beautiful.
There's nothing more cinematic than that.
Nothing.
It don't get much more cinematic than that. I'll tell you.
Snow, but anyways.
Yeah.
Sorry, Denise, go on.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna not at all. I was gonna say, if you are not familiar with Dean Koondy's work, he was the cinematographer on this movie. You are familiar with his work, and you should. Yeah. You know, you should appreciate this man for his craft. We actually worked with him on a movie, and he's a little bit of a curmudgeon, but he's very specific in what he wants. And I mean, Jurassic Park, Apollo 13, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Escape from New York.
Yeah, when you've got that kind of pedigree, you get to do whatever you want.
100%. Yes, you can. If you can back your shit up, then okay, I understand. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. Romancing the Stone. I mean, like just Creature from Black Lake. Like, that's what a wonderful spectrum. And then the one we worked with him on was like not a romantic comedy, because it was like a
coming of age drama.
Yeah, it was a drama. It was like a sad movie. Yeah. But
teen pregnancy.
He did also do Halloween 3 and 2. Yeah.
A young Dean Koondy.
Psycho 2. Yeah, I mean, just Back to the Future, obviously. 2, 3.
So he basically worked on movies that like pioneered movies.
Yep.
That pioneered visual effects.
Accurate.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, yikes. Beautiful. That little song that Jamie Lee Curtis sings, I wish I had you all alone, just the two of us. She made it up.
Oh, that's fun.
She made it up. I just thought I'd throw that in there. We're talking about a little trivia.
Old JLC.
Trivia. Uh-huh.
Old Jamie Lee.
What are we counting here in chat? What is?
I don't know. I saw that. It looks like
what is
Epic
this,
and
6
Estonia and
times?
I are wondering. It seemed to be in some degree of discussion over 5 or 6 times.
6. Yeah. What is this? What did I miss?
Maybe it's the amount of times that Loomis shot Michael Myers.
No.
I think going back. No, it was. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, okay. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, clearly it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Clearly. Was he wearing a vest? I doubt it.
He was wearing a jumper.
And that's where we go into the, we start to go in the little supernatural aspect of who is he, what powers him, what drives him, where does he come from?
Well, that was just really a Carhartt jumper, and just the build quality was so fantastic.
And they don't make shit like that anymore, and that's really sad. That saddens me.
Yeah, Carhartt stopped using Kevlar a long time ago.
Yeah, well,
I think it was 1979.
Before it was cool, they stopped, which was a big move on their part.
It's a disappointment.
Do we know anything about the backstory of Michael Myers? Is there anything you can tell us about where we think he comes from in pop culture?
Well,
I know we get a taste of that in Halloween 3 and then 6 with Paul Rudd, Ant-Man himself, playing an old Tommy Doyle.
I mean, at that, and even, you said 3, right? Did you say 3? Okay.
Yeah, Silver Shamrock.
Yeah, it all circles back around to some cult.
Yeah.
That's what everybody thinks that's what everyone thinks is his ability to keep appearing after being shot. Because at the end of 4, he's shot with semi-automatic weapons.
Yeah. Takes a lick and keeps on ticking.
I'm pretty sure they throw a grenade there too or something like that. But yeah, he is the Energizer Bunny of the horror world.
Yeah, just keeps going. I would love to see a triple threat match between Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and Jason Voorhees. That would be an awesome.
That'd be so good.
An awesome fight. Because you got Freddy with the high agility, you know what I mean, jumping around, doing martial arts, claw attack, punch, claw attack, kick. But then you've just got these two immovable objects. It's a real heavyweight bout if you throw Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees in the ring together.
Do they get weapons?
Absolutely. They each get their favored weapons. So I think Michael would have the giant kitchen knife and Jason would probably have a machete.
Because Freddy's got his...
Yeah, Freddy has his claws.
So here's the real question. Who's in whose corner as a tag-in?
Oh, so you want to make this a triple threat tag match during WrestleMania week. Glenn, I love this.
Okay.
I mean, my main question is who gets Leatherface? Because Leatherface has the best weapon.
Yeah, gigantic chainsaw.
Myers?
Myers gets Leatherface?
Yeah, I can see that.
I would team Lep with Freddy. Can you imagine that duo?
The banter would be next to perfect.
Oh yeah.
And of course, Ash is the ref.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he ends up beating them all in the end.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. He turns.
He's Ash.
Who does Jason get?
Here's what I think. I'm going to throw something out of left field.
Alien.
Jason doesn't get a tag partner, and I'll tell you why.
He doesn't work well with others.
No, because what Jason gets is he hits his chest and releases a bunch of nanobots, and he gets to become Jason X with the full tech and the future machete. That's what Jason gets to do, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because Jason X is rad. The movie itself, I'm a big fan, but
it's
Pinhead and Freddy. That's a great fucking combination.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Two interdimensional demonic beings tagged up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry, my keyboard is the loudest ever.
Man, now I know what that sounded like from this end.
Sorry.
You gotta get real soft with those keystrokes, like
yeah.
yeah,
So it sounds like we have a pitch meeting.
Oh yeah. But before we do our pitches, maybe it's time to get into some rankings. What do you guys think?
Sure. I do want to talk about the mask real quickly, though.
Please
if you
do.
don't know.
I mean, you can also talk about this during the wardrobe part of the
Fair
rankings.
enough. That's a good call.
Yeah.
I need to bring up. I had it up on my phone. I need to bring it
Is
up.
that a burnout or a record scratch you did there?
That was me reversing. That was my reverse noise.
It's a good noise.
A burnout.
Yeah, you did good.
Yeah, sure. Sure, whatever you say, one.
So yeah, here we are. It's time for some blood and popcorn rankings. We don't do that here. That's not something we really do here.
Oh, this shot messed me all up. I didn't even make popcorn tonight. What have I done?
I don't know. You're really, but you look fantastic.
I'm dropping the ball.
So you didn't get the popcorn in it, but you got the themed costume done, which is good.
I tried.
True.
Yeah. Good,
I'm also gonna have to do my themed cooking next week because shot.
What would you have done for this?
Do you remember those pumpkin hand pies that I made when I was doing all the Halloween
they were
games at Gina's?
They were good.
I know you don't like pumpkin, Glenn, but they were actually pretty good. It's what I'm not judging.
I seem like I hate Halloween.
You really do.
You hate jack-o'-lanterns and John Carpenter.
Children, apparently.
I don't hate John Carpenter.
Glenn loves John Carpenter. That's why I keep
do.
teasing him about it.
Oh my God.
Glenn doesn't like pumpkin flavoring. I'm sure he loves them as decoration.
I do. Also, most of the pumpkin you eat isn't fucking pumpkin, so whatever.
The thing I buy that says pumpkin puree is not pumpkin?
It's winter squash. Look it up.
What the fuck?
Whoa.
Pumpkin's flavorless and tastes like shit.
Well,
No, have you ever actually used a sugar pumpkin to make a pie?
it's all settled. You heard
But
it here
that's not
first,
a-
folks.
Pumpkin.
Pumpkins are flavorless and taste like shit, as from the man himself.
Alrighty then. Jason and his mom. That's a good idea.
Pumpkin slice latte. Why have I never seen that before?
Pumpkin sliced latte? What?
No, that's just
Oh.
what Australian Knight said. That's a. Why have I never heard that pun?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I love it though. I'm here for
You
it.
fucking do.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like pumpkin spice shit can go away.
And that was
Anyway.
the nicest way he was ever going to say that.
So let's
because
talk
I've heard
about-
the alternative. It's dark. Yeah.
SNL did a great send up of pumpkin spice things. Just look it up. It's great. Autumn's Eve.
Autumn's Eve, delicious. I love pumpkin beers. I know you
Don't say delicious with that. No.
Delicious. Denise, this was your pick, so I think
This
it's
is my
only
pick.
fair that we start off the rankings with you.
Let's do it.
Tell us about what you thought about the script.
The script. Okay. The script was fine for me. It felt very conversational between the girls. There were some silly moments, but I was okay with it. I felt like I was there watching, that sounds creepy. Watching three teenage girls chat about
And there I was watching three teenage girls chat about town.
My goodness. An interesting note is that apparently Deborah Hill wrote the dialogue for the ladies, and John Carpenter focused more on Donald Pleasant stuff.
True partners. I love it.
I did not know that.
It's
That's
pretty great.
interesting.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Good on you, Deborah.
So I was gonna say though, I mean it all felt accurate. I mean they filmed it when they were intending it to be. Though I can't say that I know exactly how people spoke in 1978, but it all what's the word I'm looking for? It all checked out.
It all came
checked
out in the
for me.
wash.
Yep. So I gave it I'm also like, when I really like a movie too, we talked about this last week, I tend to be very forgiving in the score. So I'm going to give it a 7.5.
on the script side. Not
I
bad.
wanted to go further up, but I'm going to give it a 7.5. There wasn't anything that truly struck me, so I'm good at 7.5.
I like how your forgiving score is my generous score.
Well, that's
because I want to give it more.
And that's a fantastic lead in. Glenn, what did you give?
Also a 7.5. I mean, it's basically the same thing I said, or when I said Jesus. What Denise said, it was nothing like. I hate that I'm shitting on John Carpenter. It wasn't anything revolutionary. It was just like a very serviceable, simple horror script.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave it the extra half point because like my median is like 7, because it wasn't just like a stringing together of like set pieces, which a lot of horror movies are, where it's just like, and this person dies from a decapitation machine.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool.
And you can
Which
pick
I
up
do
your
get
own
behind.
decapitation machine at the Blood and Popcorn merch store, so be sure to check that out. It's limit 500 numbered.
But yeah, sorry. That was I like how we came to the same score, but from opposite ends of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Well, much to no one's surprise, I came in under what you guys have. I would have given this a 6 on the script side because I don't think it's a very good script. But I gave it an additional 0.5 just for the fact that in the beginning of the movie, Dr. Loomis solves a huge plot hole with one line, and it's the conversation's over, and that line is because it's the law. And I think that's really smart, and it literally gave the movie a whole half point. It's not that it's a bad script. It's just, and unfortunately, some of the dialogue is a bit wonky for me. Like, and this is a weird quirk. Like, this isn't anything against obviously John Carpenter, who's a fucking genius and one of the masters of horror, or Deborah Hill, obviously very established and accomplished producer. But like when she's in the bathroom, or when she's in like the washroom, the one girl, and the dog's barking. Epic coming in with another 5
Holy shit,
subs.
Epic. God damn.
Thanks, dude.
Epic, my goodness, thank you so much.
Subscription.
The drinking game is on.
What is the drinking game?
He's gonna post it on Discord soon.
Oh man.
He's making a drinking game for each. He's making a specific drinking game for each of our shows.
Yeah, and speaking of the Discord,
I can't wait.
I don't need help, but all right.
Subscription.
Someone go ahead and pop the Discord command into chat. But yeah, like I said, for me, the script was what it was. But like when she's in the laundry room and she's like,
Subscription.
The dog is barking again and annoying me again. And it's like the repetitiveness that she says again twice. And that I took a whole half point off just for that line.
Oh boy.
It really bothered me.
Damn. Okay.
Because it's, to me, and again, this could have been on her part. Maybe it was a flub of the line. But I'm gonna write it as written because it's what made it in the movie, so I'm gonna give that to the script. Okay. But yeah, there's just some dialogue in there that's very basic for me and doesn't seem. It just seems so archetypical of the characters that they become a little one-dimensional for me because of the script. Because I think that they're very fleshed out, and you get that kind of in the first moments of meeting them, where like Lori's the smart girl, and PJ Souls is the the hot cheerleader type who's the bad girl, and then you have the other girl who's like kind of like another bad girl, and like you kind of get who they all are, but like dialogue wise, it just, I don't know, it falls off for me. So 6.5, not terrible, still well above average, but not my favorite in regards to dialogue, except for Donald Pleasance. And I don't know if Donald Pleasance smiled himself during the Lonnie line, but if that was scripted, If that was scripted to be that reaction, I would give it another half a point because that was pure delight for me.
Pretty amazing.
Well, speaking of amazing acting, Denise, what did you rank the acting in Halloween?
I actually put it at a 7 because it's, bless her heart, but Annie bugs me.
I can have a higher score than you. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I thought I was gonna go higher. I'm trying to be a little more critical because I'm so giving. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis was amazing. She's, she is this young, sweet, innocent girl. Donald Pleasance is, I mean, he got top billing. He was brought in as the heavy hitter. They paid him $20,000 for 5 days of work.
It's $6 billion today.
Out of a $300,000 budget.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's real deal Holyfield.
How many days was he there?
5.
5 days.
5 is what the internet said. So he was, I mean, what my question is, what did he just come off of? Because that would be my, like, obviously something huge.
Wasn't it the Donald Pleasance Variety Hour?
That's 4 G's a day in, like, whatever they shot this in 1977.
Yeah.
That's like $14 million a day in our money now.
Yeah, if Donald Pleasance was in Avengers, he'd make more than Robert Downey Jr.
I mean, that's how inflation works, right? Like, you could buy a Camaro for $20 in the 70s, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, $20.
I mean, Jesus. In 1978 alone, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 movies come out. Some of them were TV miniseries, but 10 fucking movies. Like, what? Yeah, I mean, he was in Oh God. He was in Telephone.
With an F.
With an F, yeah, and there's no O. Telephone.
Who else in chat has seen Telephone with an F?
Not I.
I've not.
I've not seen
Jesus of Nazareth TV miniseries. So he was a heavy hitter, and he does. Who said it earlier? Somebody was saying earlier in chat that he like really milked the lines, but I mean, he's so very much made that character his own, and he is an iconic part of horror movie history because this man comes in. Maybe I should make my score higher. This man comes in and he gives you the business. He is so passionately terrified of this character, the shape, Michael Myers, from a child to a young man. He is so terrified of him, and he just brings that great energy. I'll leave it at I'll put it in. I don't know if I should change it, but yes, I give it a 7.
And Glenn, what about
what's your final score? Holy shit! How am I way ahead of your final score?
Yeah, listen, I was trying to be more, because you guys last time y'all are all like,
don't put this on us. Don't put this on us. Absolutely
I was trying to be
not.
More critical.
No. We said everyone's opinions are different. That's what we said.
Listen, I also told myself that I wanted to, like, maybe I shouldn't be. I was letting my overall enjoyment of the film color.
That's fair.
Every other score.
That's totally fair.
Because if I love it, I'll be like, you know what, it's fine. Like, whatever. So they left a Starbucks cup on set. We could explain that away. Kind of thing. It was a joke. Game of Thrones, they did that.
Not in Easteros or wherever the fuck they were.
Westeros?
Easteros sounds like a Easter themed cereal.
I don't know what's happening. Anyway, don't look at my overall score. How dare you?
I was trying to look at what you did for Leprechaun to see if you outranked.
That's a very personal thing, Glenn.
Oh God, did I? Because I'm gonna have to go back and.
You don't have it on our.
Well, you can all go back and watch the Leprechaun on the videos here. That was our series premiere, St. Patty's Day special. You can all go back and watch the VOD. It's in the video section of this channel. Speaking of other things you could do on the channel, there's all kinds of channel commands that you can do. You can pop off some of those and to chat and learn various things about Channel 29 and the things we do here and the shows we have. But let's take that over to Glenn. Glenn, what was your thoughts on the acting in Halloween? Yes.
Whew.
I put it up at 7.5.
Yeah, I feel like
Denise has gone up. She's altered her score. She's on up to 7.5.
Overdid it here. but I don't because it's my opinion.
There you go. There you go.
um, from here on out and from the beginning, like I always try to do my, and I think TJ is doing this, and I think Denise is doing this as well. Like my baseline is like 7.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's in focus and you can hear it and it's not fucking garbage, like it's a 7. But if you like vary either side of it, it goes lower or higher.
Yeah.
Which I could do that math, but I can't tell you what like a very average movie would come out to be.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that would be a 70 because we have 10.
Yep.
Math.
Doing great.
Anyways, so I thought because this movie is so low budget, even though 300K I would take and never work again.
I'd invested in corn in Illinois.
Yeah, it's actually. Yeah. Anyways, no, I thought it was like quite a bit better than movies of its era and its like budget. So I give it an 8.5.
Oh wow, that's very high.
It is a
That's pretty
very
high.
high score. Like I'm thinking of all. Granted, I watch a lot of shit.
Yes, you do.
And I don't mean shit as in like a quantity, I mean it as in a quality standard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But also as a quantity standard. There are so many movies that are made for a lot more than this, even adjusted for inflation, where like the acting is fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in horror, it's usually the worst thing in horror movies. Outside of a script that's just set pieces, that I had to give it a fairly high rating. I am now second guessing it, but like I never really. The script might have had some wonkiness a little bit to it, like you said, but I don't think any of the acting was really out of bounds. So like I had to give it a higher score than what seems reasonable. So yeah, an 8.5.
Yeah, you know, once again, I came in low. I gave it a 7. I think Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance really carried the movie from a strong performance basis. But like, man, Annie's death scene is some of the worst acting in horror cinema.
Really
like
bad.
this face, like there's like face smushed up against the glass, like weird, like shot at the end was just like, oh man, like, and then her screaming, like they had to loop it initially to like do the same one, which I'll talk about my sound design, which was not ranked very well in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, and then PJ Souls basically dies off camera, you know, because maybe they saw Annie's death and they were like, we're gonna get the same thing again, but we can't go back. Just
Bob died well though.
Bob did die well. Bob was the
Kudos
best
to
death
Bob.
of the film. Yeah, Bob stole the show in regards to dying well. So hats off to you, Bob, for taking that knife like a champ.
Yep.
But there's an art to dying. Like it really is an acting challenge, and you see it because, you know, Bob wasn't exactly winning an Oscar for that role, but you can see the light leave his eyes. Like, and that's something special for an actor to really be able to deliver that moment well. And I don't think the two ladies did it particularly well, so they lost a point. But 7, still very good, still there.
Yeah.
Strong.
I mean,
7,
yeah.
not the
Annie
worst.
and Linda were a little caricaturish for me, which is why it brought down, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance.
Brought it up. Yeah. Thank God for them. Well, speaking of sticking someone to a wall and having them stay there, Denise, what were your thoughts on the special effects here?
We were
in the film.
Like halfway through, and I was like, there haven't really been any effects, huh?
Yeah.
They really aren't.
TJ noticed something that he'll get to later. It didn't bother me that much. That didn't bother me. You know what I mean? Like, listen, this is 1977. We do what we can. And then at first, the physics of Bob's death bugged me because I was like, there's no way the knife is strong enough to hold his entire body. Like, I know I usually go in with like, you've got to suspend your disbelief. And I usually go in with that, especially with horror movies. But I'm like, I mean, wow. And then I was like, there's no way it's long enough. However, when I saw him drop the knife when Lori was in the closet, I was like, fuck, maybe it was long enough.
It's the size of her fucking arm, man.
Like, damn.
It's like...
So, and then we didn't have a whole lot of blood. It was all suggestive, which I thought was great. It fit the movie very well. And I initially said it was pre-slasher, but this was sort of like, this kicked off the slasher, which just got bloodier as time went on.
Oh,
This kicked off the craze. I gave it a 7 for effects. But wait, should we talk about? No, I guess technically the mask would be not effects, right? Because it's not like molded to his face or anything like that.
I'd put it to wardrobe.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put it to wardrobe.
I would too.
Glenn, your turn.
Thoughts on the special effects, Glenn?
Also a 7. I don't want to give away what TJ is about to talk about, but like there's like 2 things. What you're gonna mention, you're gonna basically say the same thing I am. I really didn't have a problem with the stabbing of Bob or hoisting or pinning, whatever you want to call it, of Bob. Things in the 70s were just built better. I don't know if you remember that, Denise.
Maybe he hit a stud.
Once you stab things with a knife in the 70s, they got about 6 inches longer.
Mm-hmm.
And cabinet doors were made of adamantium.
Yep.
That's true.
And I guess he was hanging on his sternum.
That would support that much weight if you got the knife in deep enough. I think the smart thing was that they did it blade down, and I thought that was
so he was
clever.
on the blunt end.
He was on the blunt end because otherwise it could have just kept slicing him up and then having him.
It wasn't sideways?
No.
Huh. Okay.
Which would give it more structural integrity being vertical because the knives don't bend that way.
No.
But Michael Myers is a tactician with the blade. What do you want? Guy's a surgeon.
But I'm not going to give it too much shit because in horror movie reality, it's not that crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For sure. It was just in that moment, I was like, wait, hold on. What?
Wait a second.
But I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yes. I already gave my score, so it doesn't matter. 7.
I wasn't too far off. I did a 6.5. I took a whole half a point off because I hated the glass smash at the front of the movie.
You hated that.
I hated it.
So much.
Every time we watch it, I hate it because you could see the plastic or the metal thing taped to the dude's hand, and it's just so obvious that that's what he uses to break the window. And
to be fair, I did not notice it until you pointed it out.
That's me. I'm a stickler like that, I guess.
I mean, I'm usually hyper, that's what the fuck. I guess I was, and this is crazy. Maybe it's because I've only seen it a few times and didn't care for it.
But I'll say this: if you've never broken glass, as an effect, it is tough to do. I worked in
it is, especially auto glass.
Yeah, where we had to break auto glass, and you only get one shot at it unless you've got a duplicate car or a duplicate pane that you can throw in there somehow.
Doesn't break like it does in that movie, though. It shatters into a trillion pieces. That's the point of safety glass.
Like glass confetti.
Mm. But was there safety glass in 1978?
No, it was all
things were different.
Single pane window glass.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
It's funny how TJ and I we were making a zombie series in northeastern Pennsylvania one time, and we tried to break a tube television. Because you've seen it done on TV all the time. You've seen it done a million times, right? No, that thing is impossible to break.
Those things are hard. That glass is
holy shit.
hard.
We took a bat to it and it wouldn't break.
Yeah. In the end, we had to use a sledgehammer or something to hit it. And even then, it cracked it. Bulletproof, those old TVs. Bulletproof.
The reason I didn't give it such a bad score for that is because what I thought was really cool about it is, and this is more cinematography, which we haven't got to yet, is like they hit it, and then the way they lit it, all of the spidering was illuminated.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, they had to have done tests. Obviously, they had a fake window that would crack but not shatter and open the jugular of the actors in the car.
All these things good.
So I gave it a little bit of higher score than I should have.
Hey.
More than I stand by.
Hey,
yeah.
funny.
No one should be doing anything here, guys. These
but
are
I
opinions.
didn't see the fucking thing in his hand. Oh, that annoys me. I'm going to see it from now on.
And now you're never going to unsee it. So thanks, TJ, for that.
Sorry to ruin it for everybody.
Thanks,
well,
TJ.
you know, here's something I think we can all agree on, and that's that movies need production design, and this one had some. So, Denise, what were your thoughts on that?
You know, it was all, good night, Melody. See you later.
Good night.
Thanks for being here. It was, there's a lot of different ways to use the word practical in movies, but I mean, it was practical. It was what it needed. There was nothing, they shot inside houses, you know, there was nothing, that stood out either way. It was all practical and period specific. So I gave it a 7. I mean, maybe it should get a 10 because it's exactly what it needed, but I give it a 7 because there was nothing remarkable about it, but the movie didn't need it.
Yeah.
You know?
Glenn, what were your thoughts on production design?
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. 7. Like, it was a low budget. I don't think they built any sets. If they did, I'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Again, all practical. Like, in reality, I could have given it half a point lower because technically I guess locations falls under this. And there aren't many rolling hills, and there definitely are not palm trees in Illinois.
Don't be mad at the faking.
Though I will give them credit, they did a pretty damn good job of cutting out palm trees. Like, living in LA, like, it's hard to fucking do that.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Like, I've been on I've been on like major TV or movies where like it's like, this is supposed to be Indiana, and they're just like, there's 4 palm trees like front and center. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like they tried. You can tell because there's a few shots where it's just like, oh, we kind of got one here in the frame, but like we're moving and whatever.
Yeah, we're not going back.
No.
For once, we are aligned. Sound the jackpot alarm because we got 777s. I gave it a 7.
What?
Yeah, there's not much of it, but what's there makes sense. So, solid 7. Moving on.
Yeah.
I have nothing more to add to that story. Something else that was there, but was there in very great effect, was the wardrobe. Denise, you've done wardrobe before. What were your thoughts?
I have. I thought it was great. I thought it told the differences in personality between the 3 girls very well. You gotta love Donald Pleasant's iconic look. Oh my gosh, Castiel is Donald Pleasant. Castiel is Dr. Loomis.
Yeah, how did we not know
Holy
this before?
shit, I don't know.
Dr.
Oh my
Cass.
gosh. Oh, okay. I'm actually sad that Melody left before we realized that. So interestingly enough, it's got all the actors wore their own clothes because there was no money for a costume department.
Makes sense.
Jamie Lee Curtis, we were talking about it because Glenn made a joke about them going to Target. I was like, I don't think Target was around then. So then we were talking about, he's like Sears and or Montgomery Ward, and I said pennies. Jamie Lee Curtis went to J.C. Penney for Laurie Strode's wardrobe. Spent less than $100 for her whole outfit. Like,
is that true?
2 outfits. This is true. This is from the IMDb trivia, so I hope it's true. If not, I'm telling a lot of lies.
I believe it. You know, you said it. It's on the internet, so it's automatically true.
But how absolutely fabulous! Like, it's like we've done that for so many like low budget things, but it's like,
yeah,
they were able to pull from their own wardrobes and make it match their characters.
Yeah,
because like you said, PJ Souls, Linda was a little bit the sluttier character. You have Annie being, writing the line, but she doesn't have to dress sexy. She's in her flannel and everything. And Jamie Lee Curtis's outfits, she went out and she got those, and those were fabulous, because that definitely told the story of that character. And I can't believe Castiel's Dr. Loomis. Anyway, I gave it an 8.
Fun fact: PJ Souls was my first horror movie crush.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you know that part was written for her after John Carpenter saw her in Carrie?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that makes sense. She's what a treat.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to talk about the mask. I'm sorry.
Oh, we're here.
Speaking
We've
of no
done
money-
it. Denise, we made it. We're at
Oh,
the
shit.
wardrobe section. This is the story you've been waiting to tell.
Speaking of no money, Michael Myers' mask was a mask that they bought and just painted white because they didn't have the money to, so they just bought like a popular mask and painted it white because they didn't have the money to create something special for the movie. In here, I'm gonna read this. It's gonna take a minute or two. There are a number of historical threads through various production people over the years that validate. Here's one of the threads. This rumor. This person who's speaking, who is it? Rick Sternbach, an illustrator and designer on Star Trek: The Motion Picture, Next Generation, and Deep Space Nine, said he was hired as an illustrator on Halloween 2 in '81, working for production designer J. Michael Riva. In a supply cabinet at Pumpkin Pie Productions, they had one mask left from the original Halloween movie. This is when they were doing Halloween 2. It appeared that they needed to go get more. They didn't know where to get any of the others. So this guy noticed that there was some wording molded into the neck area. There was a model number and Don Post Studios. Don Post.
Yeah.
Famous mask maker, iconic, amazing. So he made the call, read off the model number, and word came back, it's our Captain Kirk mask. I asked if we could buy a number of them and said, we'll give you a box, just give us credit. So somebody from the original movie went and bought a Captain Kirk mask and painted that thing white. And you've changed this iconic character person because it's William Shatner's face.
Yeah. The Shatman.
And turn it into one of the most iconic horror movie characters of all time. I love that story so much. It's just really, it makes my indie heart swell because I've been in that position where you're like having to cobble things together. I do have a physical appointment later next month, so I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah. Is it Dr. Loomis?
No. Too soon.
It's the basis for that 80s song, Owner of a Swollen Heart, I believe it was. Glenn, now that we know the prolific story of the iconic Michael Myers mask, what were your thoughts on the wardrobe for the film?
What did you give it, D? I'm sorry.
I gave it an 8.
Oh, wait. God, we are very aligned. Though I still have a higher score than you. I also gave it an 8. It would have got my normal 7. The only reason I gave it an extra point is, one, I'm a sucker for the 70s, and I will always give the 70s like way higher than it should be. Ridiculous colors.
What would you rate my shirt, Glenn?
Full 8. Full 8.
Thanks.
Stupid polyester, which weren't meant for humans to be in. But like, again, like you just said, the iconicness of the mask. Iconicness is a word. I made it up. Is that a word? Yeah.
Let's make it a word.
I love it. I'm here for it.
But like the also the
Breaking
ridiculous
news.
story of them painting a Spock mask.
Kirk.
Seeing how many Trek fans there were. And like, how many years was it before like people were like, oh, that's clearly a Vader mask they painted white, and no one noticed.
Glenn's still going for it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, these.
No, but like seriously, no, they aren't. It's like, yeah, whatever.
It was a good effort, Glenn.
Like, how many years did it go before people were like, oh, that's the captain?
Right about to the second one.
Was it like? Was it what?
Well, at least the wardrobe designer knew in the second one, as per Denise's story.
No, I meant like
The
like
general public.
audiences. Like it's so iconic of a mask. Like it obviously was like a huge hit in 78, 79, however many years it played in theaters.
Yeah.
That like how many people are like, oh, that's fucking Captain Kirk. Like,
Yeah.
was that known?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. One of life's great mysteries, the mysteries of cinema.
Anyways.
We are once again aligned, as I gave wardrobe an 8 for roughly the same reason that you both did. It was there.
This is your highest score, I think, isn't it?
No, it is not. But we'll get to my
So
highest score
far.
next. So far, highest score, yeah.
Okay.
It was the 70s, and everyone was in 70s wardrobe, and I had no complaints. Everyone looked great.
Agreed.
So boom, strong 8. Well, now we're on to one of my favorite categories, one of the ones that I always like to dive into first, first foremost. But Denise, the theme from Halloween, the music of Halloween, what were your thoughts? I'm going to step away for a second while you give those.
Oh, he wants to know them, but he doesn't.
I want the people at home to know them. I already know them.
The theme song is iconic. I gave this a 10. I gave this a 10 because I love it and it puts me in the exact mood I need to be in. I love horror movies. I can pretty much watch them at any moment in time. But this theme, it's so simple. It's so simple, but it's so effective. It's frantic, rhythmic terror to me. So I give it a 10.
Oh, well, that was very concise.
Thank you.
I agree. As you can probably see in the notes that we all share.
I don't read your notes because you got mad at me the one time.
I didn't get mad. I was just.
You did say, don't read my notes.
I was.
The columns are next to each other.
They are. I was flattered. That's the term. Oh wait, I'm on camera.
Yes, you are.
No, it is the American horror theme, like period. Like as I wrote my notes, it is like it should be talked about and is talked about in the same breath as like Jaws or Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like there's iconic American movie themes, and Halloween is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as it is, but it's iconic. It's amazing. Like it's a 10 no matter what.
Yeah.
Did you both do 10s?
Yeah.
I did, yes.
I did a 9.
You just have to be different.
Listen, at least I've got an explanation behind my scores.
Give it to me.
It's the only piece of music in the movie.
It is perfect.
And it is. All nine points of that music go to the main theme. I deducted a point because there's not much else going on. It's a lot of ambient noise, like 3-note ambient noise, stings.
That's true.
Like, again, I'm
need more
hypercritical. Well, no, but a lot of it wasn't music. Like, in my opinion, at least, there wasn't like I said, the theme of the film is used throughout 90% of it over and over again in various different ways. But like, yeah, for me, there just wasn't a ton. Later Halloween movies go on to put on whole soundtracks. Like I have the soundtrack for Halloween 4 on CD. It's fantastic. Right. But to me, like I needed more from the score to get it to 10 because it's the main theme carries the whole movie. It's like, it's an ever present couple of notes. And I love it. Obviously, I love it. It's my highest score of the movie, other than enjoyability. But that's my hot take. I could have done for a little more.
That's okay.
But a 9, solid 9.
Solid 9.
Almost perfect.
Again, like before we started this show, like I super thought I was going to be the most fucking. This is shit. What the fuck is wrong with this? Mm-hmm. Not that you're doing that. That's not what I'm saying. Like, no, I thought I'd be the most like hypercritical, and you're not being hypercritical. I should just stop talking.
No, you're all gonna see like what happens when a perfect movie rolls across our desk, and then you'll know where my benchmarks lie when, again, like I keep saying Event Horizon on these episodes because Event Horizon is a near perfect film for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, but
I was just saying I don't even know what my near perfect film is. I'm gonna have to think about this.
Yeah, well, because that's the thing, right? Like Event Horizon is technically for me near perfect, but its enjoyability for me wouldn't be a 10. So that's like a movie like that has the opposite effect because I can only watch Event Horizon once in a blue moon. It's really good.
It's very heavy.
Yeah, but like I can watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space weekly.
Sure.
But that special effects ranking is going to be a 10. The score is going to be a 10. The script is going to be a 10.
Hey, we're not doing that one yet.
Right? I'm just trying to prove that I have a heart, Denise, because apparently I'm a monster on this show.
I
can't wait until I actually delve into like some
real weird shit when we go to the other side of the moon. Well, one of the key components we split these out is sound design of a film, right? It's the talkies, right? So that's a really important part. Denise, what did you think of the sound design here for the movie?
I had a few gripes here.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, especially Annie moments that just weren't synced up super well. So I gave it a 7. I wasn't, it could probably go lower, but I wasn't, no, actually that's baseline. It does have to go lower. Ooh.
Drop it down. Drop it like it's hot.
I'm going to do 6.5.
There you go. Really stick it to the man.
Listen, I can't. I feel bad that one of my favorite movies is going to have such a low score. It's weird. It's weird how that happens.
It's very weird. That's why that enjoyability factor is really key for these. These
I haven't added
rankings.
Enjoyability. That's why, guys. Oh Lord, I forgot to add enjoyability. We're fine.
Oh my God,
Glenn, what were your thoughts on sound design here for Halloween?
Absolutely. I gave it a 7.5, which is a 0.5 higher. Again, it was like middle of the road. Nothing glaringly wrong. I thought they did a pretty good job with this, like the stabbing sounds, which aren't always great.
Do you know what those are? Do you want to know what those are?
I do. Hold on. They also did actually a really good job of mixing in the very beginning when Loomis is in the car, like they're going towards the insane asylum and it's raining. Like rain effects are actually really hard to do with dialogue. And
That's
they did a very good job with it. Also in lighting, skipping, but like those were actually really well done.
That's true.
So I gave it a 7.5. Maybe I should have given a little higher than I should have, but I gave a little higher than I should have. Yeah, but whatever.
Well,
or TJ, who wants to go after me?
It's my turn.
I mean, I already went, but do you want to know the stabbing sound?
I'm sorry, Denise.
Yeah.
Yes.
The stabbing sound effect
yes.
is the knife stabbing a watermelon.
Yeah, common fully
sense. They ripped it off from the Italians.
Yeah,
Somebody
so this was my lowest score of the movie because I thought the sound was pretty rough. You're right, Glenn, in that opening scene, and maybe it deserves a half a tick for that. But overall, there was like a lot of moments where it felt like bad ADR. I had some issues with some of the Foley work. I mean, I gave it a 5. I'm pretty down on the sound design for this movie. But again, like it's not like it takes away from it, but I'm being critical of what I thought was the worst part of the film. It gets tricky when some actors sound like they should sound in the world of the movie and some actors don't. And that to me is such a glaring, obvious thing in this film during some of the dialogue, especially the exterior dialogue, that like, and I get it, you know what I mean? It's a low budget movie. You're dealing with Pasadena wind in the spring. I'm sure the fucking boom op was ready to throw himself down a cliff. But ultimately, it just, the final mix just didn't quite land for me. So I gave it a 5.
Right. No, that's understandable.
But Glenn, you had some comments
5.
on
Wow.
5. Yeah, lowest of the night. Went from the highest to the lowest with a 4-point
Wow.
swing. Yeah, I
What
had
a
big
swing.
problems. Big problems with sound design in that movie. But the camera and lighting, however, I think we can all agree, served much better than that 5 that I gave the sound design. What were your thoughts, Denise, on the camera and lighting work here in the film?
You know, I gave it a 9. I know that it was between I don't want to talk about editing yet, but I it all worked well for me. You know, every moment was it was a very slow, purposeful rise in fear. And I think that all of the movements, like you said, a lot of the dolly shots brought you there. You know, it's normal, 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 but there's just like a little something there, that little hairs on the back of your neck,
Mm-hmm.
maybe lifting. I mean, I I didn't have any real complaints about it, and I think that it all felt very linear. Might not be the right word, but it was all kind of sweeping. You know what I mean? It was very There's a lot of horizontal movement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the
At
camera
all?
was like
Yeah.
constantly in motion.
But also not always. Like we had a lot of those, which will lead us into editing. A lot of those shots. I gave it a 9. I don't know if I'm able to accurately. Bleh.
Well, and that's
My
okay
thoughts.
because none of us are experts here. I mean, I would
That's
argue
true.
that we're expert producers, but like, you know, I've done a shift in every department on set, but I'm certainly not a fucking expert in any of them. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not a DP or gaffer or key grip or makeup artist or any of those things. There are people who are infinitely smarter than I will ever be in those departments, and hats off to them. These are opinions. It's just what they
Yeah.
are. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
I'm not up here pretending to be the end
I
all
lost
be
my
all
hair.
of the world of horror. Just, you know, 3 friends who like to talk about shit and give our whatever opinions matter. You know what I mean?
I'd like to remind you all at home, we are not doctors.
That's right. We are not doctors, but we are horror nerds, and that's good enough to do a show. Glenn, you're a big camera and lighting guy. You had some things to say. I'd love to hear your thoughts on camera and lighting.
I do, and I apologize, Denise. What did you say your number was?
9. I gave it a 9.
Okay, we're pretty damn close. I gave it an 8.5. I'm always a sucker for true anamorphic filming processes.
Can you describe what anamorphic is to those who might not be familiar with the term?
Yes, I wish I had a diagram because I'm a nerd. Basically, all film is almost a square, which is what your image is recorded onto. Man, I'm trying to think how to do this. In anamorphic, you have a lens that will squeeze a widescreen image onto that almost perfect square of your film. So if you projected it exactly the way it was filmed, it would look vertically squeezed like this.
Mm-hmm.
But the way you used to have to project anamorphic films is you'd have to have an anamorphic projection lens, and it would unsqueeze the film into your normal 2.4, or I don't know what the 16:9 conversion is, whatever, to make it look correct. And the plus of doing anamorphic is that you take up the full film frame, with an image that's supposed to be super wide, so you don't lose resolution, really. The other way that you could do widescreen in the day on film at the time is you take your film's square and you cut it in half, and that was called 2perf. I am not doing a good job at this.
I'm learning.
So basically, you're taking the film square that like is standard and has been standard since like the fucking 30s, I think, and you're cutting in half to make a widescreen. So like instead of one full resolution image per film square, you're making it half resolution, basically. That's what lower budget films did to make a widescreen movie.
Interesting.
I'm super butchering this, but like what they did for Halloween is they did true anamorphic, and they basically had the lens system. So like it was full resolution, but widescreen. It was much better. It was way more expensive to shoot that way. Basically, you use twice the amount of film you would for most low budget film would do the widescreen. Technically, there's other ways of cropping film, which is spherical, and there's a lot of math and stupidness. No one cares about this because
no, it's fascinating.
Super film camera nerd, and like if I had like literally a chart and like a pointer stick, like your fucking teacher had a long time ago, I'm like, that's. Anyways, anamorphic filming is amazing. I love it. It is still done. It's usually on higher budget things because anamorphic lenses are expensive. Anyways, I will always give like a full point to anything, especially if they didn't have the budget to really do it, to shoot anamorphically.
Right.
I love the POV shooting on this film, especially because they had a giant fucking 70s camera. Like that could not have been easy. Just like lugging this thing around with a giant lens on it. At the beginning of the film, the rain and the lighting scenes in the car, I thought were actually really good. Like it doesn't rain in California. They weren't shooting that in the rain. Like the way they made that look and sound was amazing. And again, this goes back to John Carpenter being like one of the greatest filmmakers alive, not just a horror movie director. His compositions are, I don't want to say painterly because that sounds fucking pretentious, but they really are. Like his composition is just amazing. And the other thing that really is great, because it's not just Carpenter, it's Dean Cundey, their DP, which Denise can talk about. I hate to say this term again, but like they did a really great job of painting with shadows, is the way I would say it. Which is a true sign of a really great horror movie that like uses negative space, like the black space in a frame, for terror. Anyways, I give it an 8.5. I should have given it a higher number, but other places were higher than I think they should have been in hindsight, so whatever. And I've talked for way too long.
No,
we all learned something about anamorphic cinematography. I know I did. I gave it a 7.5. I thought it was excellent. I know it's tough to shoot in the dark, but there were some scenes that felt underlit to me, and not in an intentional way. When you start to lose fidelity, like in your characters' faces and your actors' faces, I feel like you've gone too dark, and I saw that a couple times. But 7.5 is still a very respectable score, and like you said, Glenn, I love the POV stuff. I felt like a lot of these big long wides on the dolly, like one of the things that I love about this movie's cinematography is that it makes you feel almost ever present that Michael Myers is watching these people. And that's 100% by design, and it's 100% good directing and good DP teamwork. Because even when you know he's not there, you're unsure whether or not he's just lurking off in the bushes somewhere. It's excellent.
100%.
But we've come to our second to last, our penultimate score. But Denise has something to add.
To add, based on basically what the two of you said, the dark lighting in many places according to IMDb, actually came from necessity as they couldn't afford additional lights.
That's what I
Makes
think.
So
sense.
it
Makes
is.
sense.
I mean, they did what they could with what they had, and then in some spots it had to. Something's got to give, right? But
Exactly. And that's why a 7.5. Like for me,
Mhm.
like it was above my average, you know, because they did great
fault
work
them
in the
for
dark.
being poor.
But it, you know, it is what it is. It's one of the
Yeah.
burdens of making a movie. You know what I mean? Especially one
100%.
that horror movies predominantly take place at night. And unless you've got a big balloon, you know, to throw in the middle of the street every
Right.
night, that's going to drop a bunch of light down on the street. It's tough to do. So respect to them for doing it.
Mhm.
Editing, we're here. Penultimate score, editing. Denise, give us your thoughts.
Interestingly enough, it actually definitely goes along with what you just talked about. I know you're going to talk about, your thoughts on that. Um, I thought it was fine. I know there wasn't a lot of movement. There wasn't anything frantic in the editing. Uh, the mask on camera, like that is what's another word for iconic? Is there another word for iconic? Like that's fucking dope, right?
Iconic pretty much
It's
sums it
wonderful.
up, yeah.
But I've used iconic already, one or two times.
You'll show
Um,
yourself.
It's an
out,
iconic
so,
movie, so whatever.
Yeah.
I said it was wonderful and nothing bothered me, and then I said, "JK, the van door staying open is irksome." So I don't know if that would be editing or like where continuity would go in, but he picks her up and carries her into the house, and the van door just fucking stays open.
Yeah,
And
man,
then
it was
there
the
is one
70s.
spot where we don't see it when Lori goes back over across the street, whatever. It's not a huge deal. I thought that the static shots matched what Dean Kundi was trying and John Carpenter were trying to do with cinematography very well. Because like you were just saying, TJ, I think the whole thing had a very first person point of view, voyeur feel to it all. So if we're just like watching and there's not a whole lot of movement and we're just like on Lori for a good 5 or 7 seconds, it's because, yeah, you're wondering, is he watching her? He can't. She's in her bedroom, but it had that feeling throughout. So that's why I was cool with it and I gave it an 8.
Glenn, what were your thoughts on post here?
I give it a 7.5. Again, my baseline's a 7. I give it an extra half tick because I thought and this is basically based on one shot. At the very beginning, when Michael is reaching down for the clown mask and then puts on what I'm going to call a camera snoot because I can't think of a different term. So it's the 2 eye thing. I'm sure there's an edit, but I'm sure you can see it, but I didn't. I thought that was a pretty good edit.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good reason to rate the whole movie with an extra half point, but that's where I'm sitting, so fuck it.
Yeah, for me, I gave it a 6. Again, very critical of the fact that there wasn't a lot of it. And again, going back to the fact why was the movie so dark? They ran out of budget. As a producer, I know that trick, man. The more you cut the camera, the longer your day gets. So, if you can get a whole scene in 2 shots, if you can get a whole scene in a wide, in a single, and not have to worry about coverage. I mean, there's a whole scene where Lori's talking to her teacher where we never see the other side of the room. Like, there's a fucking full-blown 2-minute conversation going on there, and the camera never moves. But again, it could have been intentional because John Carpenter's so intentional. I don't know. But that could have been giving the audience that obsession feel with Lori in that moment. Right. All of this could have been true, but for me, it just didn't hit that way on watching it. So I gave it a bit of a lower score. There's just not a lot of it. It wasn't super dynamic for me. But it did create, I will give them credit, it did create a very distinct look and feel in the movie. I just like a little bit more eye candy with movement in the lens, but that's just a preference.
I'll say that, like, more than likely as we go along, I'm probably going to get shittier on editing because I'm sure we'll watch movies where there's really long takes and I'm just like, what the fuck? Why did this take so long?
Yeah, my ADHD hates it.
And I get that. I totally do. And I think one of the reasons, and again, that like I am actually a Carpenter fan, is that I think one of the reasons it's not as apparent, or at least to me, is because Carpenter and Kundi here are so great at composition and lighting that, like, if it's not cut away from, you're just like, oh, this is a beautiful frame. Whereas you're watching some not great movie, you're just like, okay,
Right.
why aren't we fucking cutting from this?
Yeah.
And that's why I gave it a higher score, because even though whether it was by design, which I felt like it might have been, or by necessity, because you got to think about it, especially in 1978 when you're physically splicing film to cut it together, then yeah, and you only have $300,000 and half of that's already been spent on the cameras, then yeah, it could have been a monetary issue or budget issue. As an independent film producer myself, I rated it higher because it didn't take away from the film for me. I get that it did for you, TJ, because you're looking at it from, obviously your own eyes. But since it didn't take away from it for me, that's why I went higher.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all go that, like, when you're shooting on film, you can, like, almost literally hear the money burning when the cameras are rolling.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, here we are. We've come to the end of our bucket, our final ranking system, and my personal favorite, the enjoyability score. Denise, this was your pick. What were your thoughts overall? Enjoyability, 1978 John Carpenter classic Halloween.
A 10, of course.
10.
I love it. A 12 out of 10. If I could give it more, I would, but I can't. I would watch it over and over again, and I have many times. In the past, I would say when I started packing in LA, I would just put it on. I would just put it on the computer, and then I would just be downstairs packing. So I've probably watched it at least a dozen times in the past 8 months, if not more.
Yeah.
It's 90 minutes. I'll put it on over and over and over again. I am a huge fan. Lori being the final girl is as perfect now as it was then. Like I said earlier, a simple, sweet, shy girl survived. She wasn't trained. She didn't know how to fight. She survived well enough she didn't kill him in the end. Loomis came and shot him. And not even that worked. But she was able to several times escape and fight her way to be able to survive and protect 2 other people. So I love 10. 10 all day.
10 out of 10. Glenn, what were your thoughts? How'd you enjoy the film?
I'll be brief about this. So when I first watched this movie however many years ago, I didn't love it. I'd already seen a lot of John Carpenter movies and loved all of them, which made me feel very conflicted about not loving this one. If you would have asked me the first time I saw this, I probably would have given it a 6. Since I've seen it several times since, I am going much higher at an 8.5. And I realize, like, how blasphemous that is to say that, like, you didn't love Halloween, you didn't love John Carpenter's, like, John Carpenter movie.
You don't like pumpkin, yeah, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Every time I watch it, I realize, like, what it took to make this movie, and like the technicality it made, or that was used to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it does an excellent job of ramping up tension, like a lot of horror movies don't actually do very well. The score obviously is iconic, not just because it's old and, like, simple, but, like, it's truly fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and that, again, is because Carpenter is a super great composer and director. And again, like, it has, like, way better acting than its fucking weight class that it's in.
Yeah.
Like, low budget things of any era usually don't have acting, in my opinion, on this level. So, like, every time I watch it, it keeps, like, slowly climbing. I'm sure it'll plateau at some point, but an 8.5 and that's actually one of the most confident I am outside of the score being a 10 in my rankings on this.
Yeah, man, that's a pleasant surprise that you ranked it that high, because I think we've probably all
Me
watched
too.
it together several times.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, Donald pleasantly surprised.
Ah,
I gave it a 10, fucking 10.
yeah, baby.
Halloween's one of my favorite movies, even though obviously
Boy.
I have some issues with the technical side of it.
Yeah, no shit.
This is my favorite scoring metric because I get to be like my most honest in this one, and I just love this movie.
It's the best metric.
It's a classic. It's if you pay attention to one metric on this show, that's the one you should pay attention to, because there aren't gonna be many movies that Leprechaun 2 out in the enjoyability category, if you know what I mean. But yeah, solid 10. It's one of the big three, the Unholy Trilogy. It's or Unholy Trinity. It's an all-time classic, and I love it. And I love John Carpenter, and I love Michael Myers, and I'm super happy that we watched this movie. D, great pick.
Thanks.
Great pick.
I'm a huge fan.
Well,
are we doing totals?
Yeah, let's do some totals. What do you got, D? What's your total final ranking?
Looks like my total is 80.5 out of 100. My bucket is pretty close to being full.
Yeah, you got a high. It's a high bucket right there. You got the butter.
Yeah.
You got the popcorn. Glenn, what about you, man? What was your total?
Apparently it was an 80. Like, how?
That's wild. Since I love it so much, and you were like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I not to no one's surprise, 72.5. A lot of that coming from the enjoyability score and the score and the film score, but yeah, it's great. Like I got no complaints for reals about it. It's a classic, 72.5, just about 3/4 full. But all in all, I think well received by this terrible trio. And before we get into some housekeeping, where can we find you two lovely people on the internet? Denise, where can we find you on the internet?
Oh, you can find me at Denise Pantoja. That's my handle on Twitch. That's my handle on Twitter, Instagram. And then you can find me on what is it called? TikTok. I was like, what's the other one called? I'm the Demogorgon. And I'll spell that out in chat because it's special.
Fantastic.
It's the D, like my nickname, like Gorgon.
Very cool.
And you, Mr. Rotell?
No, well, Glenn's going to go first. Glenn, where can we find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's at Odd Movie Master.
Tell him to tweet more.
Yes, exactly. I'm very new to Twitter. It wasn't my thing. I will get better at it. I swear.
Better, or everyone's going to leave.
Oh no! Don't do that. Don't do that. On Instagram, you can also find me at Glenn_Akers_ because apparently there's other people with my name. 2 N's in Glenn, the proper way to spell Glenn, and Akers phonetically with a K.
Yeah, and you could look to there in chat. I just dropped the socials.
Yes, thank you.
If you'd like to check that out.
TJ and Nightbot.
Yes, TJ and Nightbot. We are the same. Yeah, I'm TJ Rotell. You can find me at TJ Rotell wherever popular internets are sold. We're gonna take a second here to talk about what else the channel's got to offer real quick, and we hope you come back and see us throughout the week. Monday nights we've got Through the Void, which is our Monster of the Week live play RPG show at 8 p.m. Eastern. Super fun. We have an amazing cast, an amazing keeper, and Alex Gaston. Wednesday nights we've got our very own Denise Pantoja rocking out some Dead by Daylight on her show, Dead by D-Light, and that's 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Thursday nights I've typically been going up on Bonus Round at 9 p.m. Eastern to play some random video games and have fun with y'all. And of course tonight you're watching Blood and Popcorn every Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow night, normally you would see this show as Cursed at 7:30 Eastern, but we are taking the night off because it is WrestleMania weekend, and I'm a huge wrestling nerd, and we're gonna take our week off, and I'm gonna watch some wrestling for the weekend, which is gonna be dope.
Do it, I dare you.
But yeah, we've come to the end of our show. We did it, guys.
Yeah. I'll
Episode
post
4 in the can.
the recipe for the pumpkin hand pies probably on my Twitter tomorrow, and I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to be able to do that, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to do it. Whose turn is it next? Is it your turn next week, TJ?
Well, this is going to be a group decision turn because it's our our group vote. So yeah, we'll have to talk about that. And if you go and follow the @Blood and Popcorn Twitter or our socials, or you join the Discord. We're chatting about stuff in there every day. We've got a great community in the 29ers, as named by our friend Estonian Knight. But there's the Discord if you want to join us in there and have some fun chatting. If you don't already follow the channel, please do. Bits and subscriptions are great if you can do it, but it's following the channel, spreading the word. We're doing this to make cool content, and we hope you enjoy it. Videos, if you want to catch up on any of the previous episodes, they're all well organized in the video section of the page. So you can check all that out. Please spread the word. Follow us on the socials. Hang out with us. Give us your thoughts. Denise, Glenn, thanks for being here on another Friday night, hanging out. Always a joy. Always a pleasure.
It is a pleasure. And if you can check out Halloween on IMDb, there's just a plethora of trivia in there that's just so cool and interesting. Check it out. A ton of stuff we didn't get to chat about. Chalk about. That's chat and talk.
Yeah, combined. It's a brand new word. You heard it here first. Chalk it out, everybody. And until we meet again, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and stay scared, y'all. Peace.